It's Around the Henny, brought to you by the All Exclusive Network. Why Mogul, Eddie Law. We gonna get started off with a shot.
How we like to do it this time?
Shit. Ooh, yes.
Y'all know how I'm living.
Hey, man. Welcome to the show. We want to remind you to drink responsibly.
Yes, Lord.
It's definitely a special episode, man, with the election coming on tomorrow. We got a special guest coming on the show today. She is a candidate for the Georgia congressional seat, Miss Angela Stanton-King. So definitely stay tuned for that. How you feeling, Eddie?
Man, you know I'm feeling good. I'm in the neighborhood, man. Always 10 toes down. Feet to the ground.
Down, bro.
Running forward.
10 toes down.
Yes, Lord.
Nah, that's a fact. Well, man, that's what's up, bro. I got Miss Stanton-King coming on. We're gonna do things a little different today. We're gonna go ahead and bring her right in. She's got a very busy schedule.
Yes.
Around the Henny, we would like for you guys to welcome to the show the one and only congressional candidate of the state of Georgia, Miss Angela Stanton-King.
Yes, Lord.
Hey. Angela Stanton-King, welcome to Around the Henny. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you guys today?
Blessed, man. We're glad to have you on the show, man. We appreciate you taking time off your busy campaign. I know election day is tomorrow, so you getting ready to go.
We ready to go. I'm talking about feet on the ground, wheels on the ground, grassroots. We out here. We knocking on doors. We doing drive-by. We pushing push cards. We're holding press conferences. We're doing everything we can to let the 5th District know that it's really time for change. You know, if we really want to see change, then we got to do something different. The old school politics no longer work for us. It's a whole new breed out here, and we need real change, and that's just what it is.
Yes.
Amen. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show. Before we get started, we always hit our guests with the Henny fact. Eddie Law, what's today's Henny fact?
The Henny fact today is in 1912, the Olympics. It was the last time the Olympics gave out solid gold medals. Ever since then, it's been gold and silver plated.
Learn something new every day.
Yes.
That's what's up. That's today's Henny fact. So, obviously you're the candidate for the 5th congressional seat of Congress here in Georgia. My first question would be, what would your first 100 days be in office? What would you look to accomplish?
Strictly meeting with people in the community. I want to hear directly from us. I'm say us because right now I'm a part of the community. I'm not a congressional member as of yet, but I want to hear from us. I want to know what directly impacts you. I want to talk to the leaders of the schools. I want to talk to the leaders in our communities. I want to talk to the single mothers. I want to talk to the fathers that's out there working every day. I want to talk to all party lines. I want to talk to independents, Democrats, Republicans. It's time for us to sit down to the table, have a real conversation, include the people in the community that are impacted by the laws that we put in place, and let's figure out what works for all of us, and let's move forward. That's the only way we're going to get real change. You know, too many times we have people in office that represent us, but they never take the time to hear from us. How do you know what I need? How do you know what I want if every time I call your office, I can't get an answer? Or when I come by and leave a message, nobody ever calls me back, or you're not holding meetings in the community once every couple of months to hear from your constituents? How do you know what I need if you don't include me? So now it's time to include the people. This isn't my campaign. This is our campaign.
Amen.
Yes. I like that.
No, that's dope. That's real.
And I know you have your own race to win and things like that, but how do you feel about Senator Purdue pulling out of the final debate? Do you think that would hinder his re-election chances?
I'm not really sure. I haven't even had time to pay attention to what's going on, so this is my first time hearing about it. I've just been so swamped in my own campaign and focusing on my own race and what I want to do for my community of people. I just hadn't even had time to keep up with the latest.
Yes.
Got you. Okay, solid. So, question.
I'll say one thing though, my opponent hasn't debated me ever. She's turned down 7 debates and refuses to debate me. Oh. I'll say that. So anybody that's refusing to debate, something ain't right.
Oh, they got something
now,
to hide.
If you win at least one time and you got mocked you know, that's understandable. But if you refusing to never even go in, you're not even willing to show up for one, then that speaks volumes.
Nah,
Yeah,
fact.
you're right. You're right.
Thanks. So obviously, being an African American woman, what would you do specifically for the Black community who has long endured the struggle of some of this great country's ways?
Foster entrepreneurship. I mean, for me, politics is not political, it's personal for me. And I know that if we ever truly want to be free, then we got to have money. We got to be financially free. We need to know how to get money. We need to have access to capital. We need to know when loans are coming down the line and make sure that not only we have access to them, but we're educated on how to apply those loans to our businesses. We need, just like they're saying, Black lives matter, Black money matters. So I would like to see a lot more of us in position of owning our own businesses and rebuilding our own communities. So that's something that's at the top of my list.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's real talk.
What brings you, I know you spoke on that she didn't want to debate you or your opponent didn't want to debate you, but what in your estimation makes you head and shoulders above your opponent in which during this election?
Well, for one, I'm here. I mean, she's refusing to debate, and she's strictly riding on John Lewis's legacy. I mean, come on, you don't want to create your own legacy? I mean, John Lewis's legacy can never be erased, right? He came, he did what he was supposed to do, and that's there. But we know times have changed and times have evolved. So I don't know how effective something that was in place for 40 years is going to be effective in this new generation. Me, I'm not running on anybody's legacy but my own, and I'm not perfect, you know, and I'm not a career politician, and I think that's what makes me effective. I'm going in and really being a voice for us, someone that's had these experiences, not someone that's just, you know, been trained for this particular position or someone that's been bought in. My opponent has worked for Planned Parenthood for nearly over a decade. I myself, I'm all about life. So while my opponent, you know, votes and advocate for young Black women to abort their children, I would vote and advocate to keep our families together and for young women to keep their children and to teach them how to become financially stable so that they don't feel as though abortion is their only option. I want them to be in a position to be able to provide for their children. If we're talking about we're an oppressed minority, well, one of the ways to keep us a minority is by aborting our children. We're aborting our votes. We're killing our own army. So, you know, I read somewhere in a great book that said, be fruitful and multiply. Is the opposite of that. So I just think that what I would like to do instead of funding abortion, which is something that my opponent is for, I would like to fund adoption, and I would like to put in preventative measures, because if we don't create the life, then we don't have to worry about ending the life. So let's start focusing on birth control again instead of pushing abortion like it's birth control, because abortion is not birth control, it's population control.
Yes, you're definitely right about that.
Okay, hey, y'all, I heard it. Recently you announced that you were going to be part, you were going to push an initiative to legalize marijuana. What is the quickest path to legalizing marijuana, and how will you push this legislation?
I think right now the biggest thing is that I have the support of the GOP and the fact that many other states have already created this initiative and have legalized it. The biggest foot that we have to stand on when it comes to decriminalizing marijuana or legalizing it is the fact that it has, impacted minority communities. We know that when we're talking about mass incarceration, the 3 strikes you're out, your 94 crime bill by Joe Biden, there are people that I'm fighting for, that I'm advocating for outside of Angela Stanton, the candidate, but Angela Stanton-King, the advocate, that have been in prison for the last 15, 20 years, serving a life sentence for having marijuana. It is so unfair that there are people in prison that have been separated from their families, serving life without parole sentences, while other people have been able to capitalize and monopolize off of marijuana. I believe that marijuana should be treated just like alcohol, and our federal, state, and local laws need to adjust to treat it the same way. There is no excuse for someone who gets a DUI to be referred to a rehabilitation program and get a citation, but someone with personal use of marijuana is not only charged with a felony, but facing life in prison. I think that those laws right there in itself are enough to say that we have to relook at this situation, re-examine it, and we need to be fair across the board. Not only do we need to free all pot prisoners, but we also need to expunge their records. And that's not even to mention the tax revenue that could benefit the state and help us with some of our issues like our underfunded schools, our homelessness, right? And also bring not millions, but thousands of Black and brown people home and reunite them with their family that are currently incarcerated for marijuana charges. So we're going to fight to reunite families at the border. Let's fight as hard to reunite families in the border.
Amen. Amen, Queen. I say that. That's a fact.
Yes, that's solid. Myself, with a military background, you know, one of the things that we hear in the military, contact your congressman. And, you know, this is an avenue in which that I've tried to use, and without any response, like via email, via voice message or anything like that. Do you think that you would take a more solid look at the military messages in which that you get? Because some of the soldiers in which that are in the Army are getting rolled through the ringer and not having no one to, you know, pretty much speak on their behalf besides the people in which they work with. So how could you try to like foster and or, you know, bring that into a portion of your plan?
Well, my husband is a veteran, so is my father, and my uncle also. So I do have a special place in my heart when it comes to veterans. For those that have served our country, they're first and foremost need to be at the top of the list. We owe it to them to make sure that they're not only taken care of, but they have everything that they need. I think that our current administration have put a lot of initiatives in place that support our veterans. They're big, really, really big on veteran support, and I would definitely support everything that they've put in place. Also make sure that there's an open, clear line of communication, like you said. So many times you try to reach out to your local congressman and you don't hear anything back. How do we know what's impacting you all if we're not talking to you all, if we're not taking those messages, if we're not taking those calls? So definitely keeping an open line of communication so that we're able to share ideas, bounce ideas, and do what works best for all of us, specifically those that are in my district.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Solid. And as we were just talking about, you know, different incarceration and how incarceration affects, you know, families all over this world for something as simple as marijuana. Obviously, you know, being convicted of a non-violent crime early on in your life, how has that affected you and changed you as a person?
Well, I mean, it was hard for me coming home from prison and just having a felony, whether it's violent or non-violent. You know that when they run your name and you got a felony, it's going to pop up and it's going to be something that's going to be held against you. So me coming home from prison and being a single mother, not only being a single mother, but being a convicted felon and being hounded, you know, by parole and probation, that I had to pay certain fines. If I didn't pay those fines, I was going to go to jail, or nobody wanted to give me a job because I was a convicted felon. Then on top of that, I couldn't get any type of housing assistance because I was a convicted felon. And then if you wanted to go apply for an apartment, they're not going to let you get in the apartment if you have a felony on your record. So I understand how a criminal, you know, conviction can affect, you know, somebody's life, not only at the time they commit the crime, but 10, 15 years later. It wasn't until I was granted a full pardon from the president before I finally got it off of my record or my background. I honestly do believe that once a person commits fully, you know, serves their time and has completed their sentence successfully, pay any type of fines and restoration, I believe that that should be taken off of their background. I don't support leaving felony convictions or any type of convictions on someone's background for the rest of their life unless there are children involved.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that.
That's solid. Yeah, so we know you got a lot going on. Just to finish this thing out, first of all, hey, we appreciate you coming through.
Definitely, your busy schedule.
Tell voters why they should vote for Miss Angela Stanton-King.
Well, you should vote for me because, like I said before, when it comes to politics, for me, it's not political, it's personal. You know, I want to fight for school choice because I had a child that was placed in No Child Left Behind. behind and was just pushed through school and didn't benefit at all. I've also have a child that's been an Excel student her entire life, and I lived in a low income community and couldn't find a school that was funded and gave her the quality education that she deserved because she was an Excel student. I understand that. I understand our freedom of speech and our freedom of religion, why that's so important. You know, it's just my own personal story with criminal justice reform, being a single mother, having to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, as they say. And we really need someone in Congress that's real. So many times we see these people that get in Congress and they put the politics over the people. When are we going to have somebody that's in office that's really truly going to stand up and represent us, someone that really relates to us? And also, because of my experience with childhood sexual abuse, I feel as though it's important for me to get in Congress and make sure that we're passing laws to protect our children. Let's just be honest here. You know, grown adults, I'm all for it. Do what you do. It's not my business. You know, I'm not in the bed with you. But when it comes to children, we are creating a hypersexualized society. Everything we see right now is about lesbian, gay, bi, straight, transsexual, heterosexual, whatever. We need to make sure that we are allowing our kids to be kids. We're protecting what it is that they're learning in school. We're protecting their minds, right? Their mindset, and allowing them to just be children. I don't hear that on the floor. When I see a presidential candidate stand on the debate stage and say he believes that an 8-year-old child should have a sexual transition or be able to sexually transition, then I know that it's time for somebody to get in Congress and oppose things like that. So we want to protect our future. We want to protect our children. We want to give the Black community a chance to grow and a chance to thrive, the opportunity that they haven't had. We can't do that by aborting our children. We can't do that by supporting, you know, these same policies and these same parties that have gotten us nowhere. I just have to be completely honest. If we want different, we have to do different. The definition of insanity is to continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And if the 5th District of Atlanta is ready for real change, if you're ready for somebody that wants to work with everybody and really see some results, then I'm the person that you need to vote for, Angela Stanton-King. So anybody looking for any other information, you can visit my website, StantonKingForCongress.com, and hopefully I'll be your next Congresswoman.
Yes, Lord.
Hey, well, we definitely appreciate you taking the time. We wish you very much luck. We would love to have you back on the show again as well, and talk about these issues, because I definitely think you touched on a lot of very important issues, not just in the Black community, but just in the American community as well. So
you're relatable,
Angela Stanton-King.
genuine.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you. I'm Y.I. Mogul. This is my co-host, Eddie Law. Y'all just tapped in with 5th District Congressional candidate Angela Stanton-King on the All Exclusive Network. We thank you so much. Till next time.
Yes, Lord.